Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. Please welcome, from the blue corner, Bobby Taylor.
Now, Bobby Taylor, Tupelo, Mississippi, has fought on a couple of the BKFC shows for David Feldman. A reminder, BKFC 18 coming up next weekend. But Taylor taking this fight on short notice. It was around this time yesterday when he ended up finding out. So less than 24 hours. Said, how much tape did you watch on Charlie Decca? I could find one fight on YouTube. That was what he got.
You know, at this point, really, there's not a lot to be gained by watching tape, right, Coach? I mean, we're going to go out there and try to do the thing we do to the best of our ability and be free in the moment and let it happen.
I mean, ideally, you don't take fights on one day's notice. You don't. But you know what? When you're a young fighter and you're trying to get the opportunity and get into a worldwide scale or vision or eyeballs, you know, you take one up, you answer the door when the opportunity calls. So I guess we'll see what happens.
He's in shape.
UFM Tupelo, his gym.
And ladies and gentlemen, please welcome his opponent from the red corner, Charlie Decca.
Well, Charlie Decca, nicknamed the Bull. 26 years of age, somebody that Jorge Masvidal is very familiar with.
Considering he lives with him, I assume that's pretty close and pretty familiar with him. Yeah, it's also a big advantage of Charlie because he's getting some really good training opportunities with some high-level guys.
Well, Dan, you've known Charlie for a while.
Quite a long time.
Yeah, biggest strengths.
He's actually a very well-rounded fighter. He's got a wrestling background. He will strike. He's obviously polished up his striking with George and Paulinho Hernandez, their boxing coach. And he trains an American Top Team with a lot of good guys. So, you know, just on the surface, you would think Charlie might have an advantage coming into this fight. But, you know, once hands start flying, as you saw in the fight before, you know, throw the book out the window.
Now, Bobby Taylor, Charlie Decca, finishing out our prelims. Gamebred FC 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, here we go with our next bout of the evening. This one is brought to you by Sheath Underwear. And it's set for 3 5-minute rounds. And when the action starts inside the cage, our referee, Mr. John Dixon. And now, let's meet our fighters. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, standing 5'8" and weighing in at 180 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the cage with a record of 9 wins and 9 defeats. Representing UFM Tupelo and fighting out of Tupelo, Mississippi. Please welcome Bobby O.D.B. Taylor. And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, standing 5 feet 8 inches tall and weighing in 185 pounds. Tonight, he comes to the cage with a record of 3 wins and 1 defeat. Representing American Top Team and fighting out of Miami, Florida. Please welcome Charlie the Bull Decca.
Now, Coach, you said we don't want to take, say, Bobby Taylor's situation. We don't want to necessarily take a fight on one day's notice. But in a way, Charlie's doing that too.
Add a day to it, you know. They needed an extra fight. They had a couple fights fall off at the last second, and George told Charlie, hey, man, earn your keep. You're staying in my house. You're going to fight in my show. And Charlie said, yes, sir. Let's go.
Let's do it.
And I mean, shout out to Dean Toole and Ian Valencia for being able to put this together.
And we begin our bone-on-bone tonight here as both you see the exposed knuckles. And this is going to be a fascinating part of this night throughout the night, how it affects the striking, how it affects the grappling. Coach, you were talking about grips and attacking submission, sliding the hand under the chin. We're going to see it all night long. It's going to be little details.
It's going to affect literally every portion of this fight and every fight we see from here on out.
3 5-minute rounds, orthodox stance for both fighters coming out.
Yeah, you saw Taylor just move his feet in such a way to suggest he was setting to throw, and that's when Charlie ducked underneath to corral the hips.
Decca missing on the roundhouse.
Decca's moving smooth for a guy who took it on a day's notice.
can see Charlie wants to get this down to the ground, but the first 2 attempts were not successful. So
And Taylor coming in on that hand. Missed with the overhand right and the knee for Decca, but a big right.
Both controlling the targets as they fire their weapons. I talked to my friend Mike Richmond when I commentated his first bare knuckle fight, and he said, you go out, you feel the first punch, you're like, okay, that's what it feels like to hit him with my bare hand. Then you take the first punch, okay, that's what it feels like to take it. All right, we're here. And that's where these guys are at.
now we're in a fight.
Now we're in a fight. Now look at the grips, Coach. You see any difference here in how that's playing out?
I mean, it's so important, wrist riding, and Khabib Nurmagomedov gets so much credit for his wrestling, and I don't think he gets enough credit for what he does once the fight hits the ground. You know, he was great at getting guys down there, but nobody ever got up. I mean, he needed 3 takedowns a fight in a 3-round fight and 5 in a 5-round fight to win. And Charlie's certainly going to look to do that, but it's going to be harder to control those wrists with no glove there to help you.
And ride the left thigh, control the right wrist. This is the game, that contralateral body control game.
That is the game.
See the difference here when you hit those strikes. There are 14 knuckles on the human hand. Only 2 of them really are meant for punching. The 2 big knots on finger 1 and finger 2. Otherwise, the weapon is quite fragile, so you want to really connect with the proper 2 knuckles.
And you want to connect in the right spot. One errant shot to the side of a guy's head, and your hand is going to get toast.
Yeah, I mean, that's the overlying theme of bare knuckle, right? The punches you throw sometimes can hurt you worse than the ones you take.
You see the cuts already, and this is, of course, something you're going to see more of because the sharp edges of the bone as it makes contact with the flesh, it's a very, very unforgiving game.
Yeah, guys will certainly be wearing the damage.
Yeah. Already, 2 minutes in, 2 and 20.
A big time age gap, Taylor and Decca.
Normally, you're going to get no power whatsoever from when Taylor's throwing those shots, but you don't need the power with bare knuckle. You're going to do damage.
You're going to land, yeah, they're going to land.
And to a degree, you're not always wanting to commit with power to begin with because this is an aspect always at play. When you hit somebody, you're smashing your body into theirs. You know, that is the raw element of truth of it. And so you can't always do that with full power. It is the unified rules, so.
More than halfway through round 1.
And a knee to a downed opponent's face is still going to be illegal, so Charlie needs to be careful.
First of what's 3 if we get there.
This ride there as he laces that leg to pull him back down. And now you see what Coach was talking about, reaching through with the right hand. Now you'll see the right, and just rides the hip and does damage.
Tried to slide that X elbow down again. Again, 12 to 6 elbows legal.
Guys, it's bare knuckle MMA. This is happening. This is what we're doing here.
Not a bad way to spend a Friday night, right?
No, sir. You know, Coach, that's a really great point. That, oh man, this is a, no.
Oh, big knee! And coming down with the elbow.
Did he time that right?
No, he didn't. No, he did not.
And that's going to be a DQ.
Yeah, and you know, I guess Charlie's just not aware. You're supposed to be aware. And for people at home, they don't necessarily know this. The refs come into the back. They have a personal meeting with every single fighter, outline what the rules we are competing in are tonight, and you have to know them. It is incumbent on you. It's your job. But man, something about this Bobby Taylor, I get a feeling he's going to want to continue, even though he not necessarily should. Is that a sentence? Not necessarily should.
I don't know if it's a sentence or not, but it's certainly understood.
You're asking me? I haven't been. It's been 10 years since I was at school too. I'm the youngest of the 3 of us, but that doesn't mean anything.
I thought you were going to say it's been 10 years since you've put together a complete sentence.
Well, I mean, that might be true too. You can ask my wife.
Well, we're talking about the effect of a bare knuckle and how much damage it does. That was a bare knee, and it does more than a knuckle, I can assure you.
Yeah, and look, he's looking at it. So broken finger or dislocated finger. You saw him dealing with his own weapon. He's taking a break. I mean, if he believes he can continue, he has that right.
Certainly Charlie made a mistake.
So we're going to see it right here. Take a look, clearly, fully down, not only feet, but butt on the ground as well. Knee directly to the cranium, completely illegal, and it is your job to be aware of it. The ref outlined it. There's fighters' meetings. You know, we know when we get in this cage what the rule set that we are operating under.
Absolutely. But again, it's easier said than
Of
done.
course.
You ask Peter Yan what happened with him in that fight with Sterling, and you're sitting there and you're hearing it, and the ref is telling you, but you're looking at one hand, you're looking at one knee. I mean, it's hard to look at everything all at the exact same time. And you may be concentrating on one hand, one point on the ground, and the second that comes up, you're thinking, okay, it's time to throw. Well, that was just one.
Yeah.
You don't see the other one that's still there.
And this is not something that is discussed a great deal, but fighting takes place in an altered state. You are not consciously aware of your decision making. You're almost watching yourself make decisions as you're in there. And so it's difficult. We people have a tendency to judge. We'll judge and say, Charlie should know. Think, yeah, he's so down. I mean, all points of the body are down. That is complete. But, and you see the response, but, you know, that's not Charlie sitting there in real time like we get to do it in slow motion and looking, well, this is option A, this is option B. It's more like the Terminator when it pops up on your screen and you just watch it choose. So
he very well could have been looking at another hand or another knee that was removed from the mat and did not have to focus on the one knee that still remained on the mat. You don't know. I don't think he was looking to get out of the fight. I don't think he was looking to cheat. I don't think obviously he knew he wasn't going to get away with it if it was illegal.
Yeah.
Well, and for Taylor, you know, if you do want to make the decision to continue, there's a chance that he told us he's going to potentially be on a BKFC card soon. So you have that to think about.
Well, I mean, if you're neurologically compromised due to impact, you should you know, fight another day if you really believe you can fight. But he's also cooled off at this point. He's sitting down. I mean, realistically, you know, most doctors at this stage are going to say, are you going to continue, yes or no? Let's wave this off. And we're not there yet, but often that is what you will see.
Bobby Taylor looking over toward that corner.
Coach, if you were coaching Charlie right now, what are you telling him? How do you keep his mind in the game?
Basically, the coach is going to tell him to calm down, just relax, and what happened happened. It was a mistake. You know, if the fight goes on, we're going to stick with our game plan, think about what we prepared for in the minimum time that we did have preparation for this fight, but think back to what we've been doing at the gym every day, day in, day out, and don't think about what's going to happen if he doesn't fight. If he does fight, let's be ready.
27 professional fights. This is number 27 for Bobby Taylor tonight. 18 MMA, 6 boxing, 2 bare knuckle.
Taylor's been around, man. He has been around. He's rugged. You know, the hardest thing for the competitive mind to deal with is novel experiences. So, you know, the more I'm glancing over and I'm seeing Taylor adjusting his hand, injury to you know, because I think he's going to get up and fight.
I think I saw the referee point to Charlie and say, I'm taking 1 point away, which seems to indicate that the fight's going to continue.
Here we go.
I mean, respect. Respect.
I mean, you didn't want that to happen on our first night working together, right?
I mean, it's all part of the story of the night. And I mean, it's a beautiful story to see Bobby Taylor say, come and let's fight.
Decca comes with that calf kick.
If he throws that uppercut again, he may get countered. He's faking the up there. You see Bobby Taylor faking that right uppercut. There it is.
Snaps the left, the overhand right from Decca.
Well, I'm a fan of Bobby Taylor for life.
Yeah, that outside left calf kick.
It's one of the harder knees you've seen to a downed opponent.
Came up top to the head.
Taylor.
And Decca having to go to the ground game.
Taylor gets his hips back real nice, but this time, Charlie just stays with it. And essentially, this is a mount, correct, Dan? When we're down here on the, you know, and we've got both our legs wrapped around, even if it is the shins, it's essentially a super low mount.
I mean, it could actually be more effective than a mount because you have some really good positioning and some ability to play with the wrist, flatten the guy out if you need to, but punch at the same time.
Of course, he did extract his right leg, so no longer, but yeah, I mean, every position is a position in fighting. Nothing is incidental.
And you're not going to get bucked off as easily as you can from mount from that position.
Well, end of 2 entertaining rounds. Or, excuse me, one entertaining
right,
round.
doesn't it feel?
It felt like two.
Yeah, imagine how it felt to Bobby Taylor. Again, just some respect to Bobby Taylor. I see Jorge Masvidal sitting directly from us across the cage, and you know that Jorge's looking at that and going, I wouldn't stay down no matter how bad I was hurt, which is not what we advise to most young fighters, but these guys are different.
I think we're probably looking at an even round right now with the point deduction. I gave the round to Charlie, and the -1 probably ends that round at 9-9.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. Let's take another look at the replays. I guess we're going to see the knee. Well, first we see a little. There was a knee earlier, straight up the middle, and here punches while riding that outside leg. There, Corral, and this one straight up the middle. That's as rough of a direct knee as we've seen. Well, it feels like it's been 2 rounds. It feels like it's been 1 round, but correct us, Matt. How many rounds actually has it been?
I believe this is 3. I thought it was 3.
I know, right? It's such a wild
The ring
tale.
girl just held up 3.
Well, don't
that's
necessarily.
Good point.
I believe we're still in the 2nd round.
Yes. If you ask Bobby Taylor, this fight's been going on for 5 years.
And Dan Lambert, you are in fact correct.
I was pretty sure that was the case. Oh, hard left hooks, and now Bobby Taylor. This Bobby Taylor has been around too, man. And, you know, Gamebred MMA or Gamebred Fighting Championships is perfect for him, but so is BKFC as well. Like, for a guy who's come up as a bare knuckle boxer, as an MMA fighter, this whole spider web of fighting here on BKTV is really right for him.
It's like the perfect compliment, right?
A look at that sick reversal from Charlie.
Nice.
So now again, there Charlie's picked that back ankle. See, and now he'll use his own foot to scoop that ankle as he tries to feed that arm again through. Or he'll go to the back. Yeah, all the way to the back.
Steve Mocco, a wrestling coach at American Top Team, former Olympian, 2-time national champion, always preaches to the guys, don't be afraid to control their legs and their ankles and lift their feet up. If they're lifting their feet up, they're not standing.
It's true. The prerequisite for standing begins with your feet being on the ground. So if we take that away from you, look at Bobby, though, here turning. No, yeah, he was turning into him, but Charlie rode to the back, surfed. Now he gives up the 1 hook to be able to reach through and motorcycle grip the left arm, and now back with the hook again. So he gave up a leg to control the arms to take back the leg.
And now he's going to be fishing for the choke, and we're going to see how much easier that may or may not come with no gloves there to be fighting.
I mean, when you do no-gi jiu-jitsu, grappling, submission grappling, you're not wearing gloves. But in mixed martial arts, the glove not only fills space with the padding, there's a little handle at the lip, at the bottom edge. There's all kinds of little details that don't sound like much to people, you know, just watching. But when this is your world, these details make all the difference.
All the difference in the world. And when you get somebody who's a grappling-based, submission-based fighter, you're going to see a much bigger difference.
Okay, he's in palm to palm now. That's a very tight, and he'll hide his left elbow behind. Yeah, he's got him.
He's got a torque.
And there it is!
Really sweet finish of a really tough fight.
And again, Charlie is not a grappling-based fighter as far as the submission game, but you saw how much easier it was for him to slip his hand in there with no glove there to have to fight off.
Good point. When we do see that submission, what you watch for is the hand goes up, and the right hand will grab his own left shoulder, using it as a biological handle. From there, he'll slide his hands palm to palm and hide his own elbow. You'll see it all come together if we see that in the replay.
Marcelo Garcia made a living doing that back in the old BJJ days when he was coming up.
5th professional win for Charlie Decca, who now goes to 5-1.
Dude, please do not forget when you look back at this fight to give some serious credit, respect, and appreciation to Bobby Taylor for getting up and giving us that fight. Charlie won't forget that guy.
You see Charlie giving him his respect right there.
End of the day, that's what it's all about, right?
And I mean, two days notice. Look at the shape this guy's in. This is not a 19-year-old man, but this is a professional combat sportsman.
Charlie Decca beating a guy much, much older, much more experienced. Bobby Taylor, former construction worker. But certainly a great way to wrap up our prelims.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee John Dixon steps in and calls a halt to this bout. At 2:16 of round number 2, declaring your winner by submission due to a rear naked choke. From the red corner, Charlie the Bull Decca.
Great fight by both gentlemen.